Hey, this is a quick look at how variables can be used within an Avairto automation sequence. So I'm going to create a new sequence. I'll call it variables. And I'll start with function 1, which will be a text-to-text OpenAI prompt. I'm going to just paste in a prompt, and our prompt will be respond with the numbered list of 5 famous artists. So it's just going to create, a very simple numbered list. I'll create a second function. Again, we'll use OpenAI text-to-text, and in this prompt, we'll say create a brief bio or write a brief bio for each of the following. And then I'm going to enable use variables, which basically creates a listener for any variables that I had. And I'm going to right click and I'll say step number, response number is the model I want. So I want to retrieve the response from step 1, first response, and there's only one, so it'll be 1 and 1. I'll submit and save. And so when I run that, I'm going to run it 2 times because I have 2 steps. So step 1 is going to generate this list of artists. And step 2, it's going to retrieve that list as a variable and loop through one artist at a time, and output this the content. So it writes a brief bio for each of these 5 artists that we found. Okay, now the problem with this is that if I add a step anywhere in this loop, if I add a step especially before it, I'll just add a dummy step here. This brief bio statement looks back to step 1, response 1, which is going to go all the way up to my dummy step. It's instead of returning these 5 artists, it's going to return the wrong information. So to get around that, each step can be named. So I can name my 5 artists something like people as the step name. So where I'm responding with a numbered list of 5 artists, we're calling that people. And now down here, instead of referring to a step number, we're going to refer to the step name. So we want the response for step name people. And I'll hit submit, and that's going to do exactly the same thing. It'll go through and run and get the, actually I'll run it real quick. So I'll run it twice or 3 times actually, because we have 3 steps now. And it goes through and it's going to do the dummy step first, then generate the list of 5 artists, and then it's going to write the bio and generate the 5 bios. So that worked great. Okay, the last thing we're going to look at is we can also add human input. So we can collect user input up front. So we have just all these different types of things that we can ask the user for, and we can ask as many questions as we want, and we basically refer to the questions by number. So it's going to be number 1, number 2, etc. So in this case, let's ask for a profession. What is the profession? And we'll make that required. And so down here in our prompt where we ask for a numbered list of 5 famous artists, let's enable variables. And instead of artists, we'll say 5 famous people with this profession. And then I'm going to right click again. And in this case, I'm going to use user input, and I want the value of user input 1. So now we're collecting that information up top, and we're going to pass that to our prompt, and it's going to give us a whole different result. I'm going to get rid of my dummy step here while I do this. So I just remove row, and that bumps everything up. Okay, and it'll still work because people is the step name, and we're referring to people. So I'm going to submit that. I'm going to run it a couple of times. What is the profession, which I spelled wrong? The profession is poet in this case. So here's 5 poets, and then it will go and pass that list to our second prompt, which will write the bios of these 5 poets. And that's it. And it can get much more complicated, but I just wanted to show how each step in a sequence can be aware of really every other single step, with these variables. So that's just a short summary of how variables are used in the Avairto automation sequence framework.